911, what's the case, emergency?
Yes, I'm at 2812 Sunnyfield Court, 46228. My wife has collapsed. She is...
Okay, hold on. Stay on the line for EMS. I'll transfer you.
Fire and ambulance. What's the address of your emergency?
2812 Sunnyfield Court, 46228. 2812 Sunnyfield Court.
Is that a house or an apartment?
It is a house.
And your phone number? And what's wrong there?
My wife, I just walked in the door coming back from the gym. She's collapsed. She's breathing right now, but there's blood all over the place coming out of her nose, it looks like. She's still breathing. I didn't want to turn her over.
Home is the safest place to be. But if one day you are alone at home, an unknown pair of hands pushed open your unlocked door, what happens next will only make you regret, why didn't you lock the door? The protagonist of this story is 28-year-old Amanda with her husband of 30 years. David Blackburn, in the eyes of the neighbors, they are a nearly perfect couple. David is a respected pastor in the community. Amanda is gentle and kind. The two have a vision for life many people call it the perfect American family. They came all the way from South Carolina all for a common goal: spread the gospel of God. Couple together run resident church north of Indianapolis. This church was built in 2011. It's now closed. I go back in time to 2006. Then Amanda and David all in Pensa, Florida Clark Christian College fate is so strange. Two people who had nothing to do with each other after meeting on campus. We can't be separated anymore. A passionate and deep relationship sprang up the summer of 1987. Amanda was born in Asson, Michigan. Parents Phil and Robin are devout believers. The father is still the pastor of the local church. Growing up in such a family atmosphere, Amanda and I grew up with a special affinity for faith. 1995, the family moved to Elk, Indiana. Hart. He and his sister Amber, brother James, spent his childhood here. When Amanda was a child, she smiled all day long, be very considerate to everyone. And you get into your teenage years. Not only did he rank among the best in his studies, he was always actively involved in various church activities. In 2006, after graduating from Elkhart Christian College, Amanda plucked up the courage to leave her family, went to Florida to study, and he met David. David is a person with his own sunshine, attributes kind and humorous. It's very glamorous, although a little old school occasionally, but the smile on his face always brightens a room in the days to come. Amanda and David are getting closer. They were surprised to find their plans for the future are so similar. While still in college, the two decided to move in together. Then they adopted a dog named Melon. Their hearts, Mel is like her own child in the photos left over from those years full of happy moments when three people snuggled together. August 2008, that's 2 years after graduation, the two identified each other as the most important person in life. Hand in hand into the palace of marriage, married life, deep in their relationship. In 2011, they decided to move back to Indianapolis. There is one more move this time. The upside is that it brings Amanda closer to her family. In 2014, they welcomed their first child, a cute baby boy named Weston. Their social media feeds on happiness at reunions with family and laughter with friend support from community members. The church grew bit by bit. In 2015, there was even more good news. Amanda is pregnant. They are expecting their second child soon. The couple were ecstatic. David always said it must be a daughter this time. I even named her Early Eve Grace Blackburn, but no one thought this beautiful vision for the future will be completely shattered one morning in November 2015, November 10. 2015, as usual weekday, David got up around 6 a.m. and went his morning workout. About an hour later, it's around 7:30. David comes home from a workout. He got a call in the driveway, maybe to get Amanda to sleep a little longer. He made a point of speaking in the car before entering the house. Who would have thought this is the most common behavior, but missed the best time to save. Hang up the phone. David pushed open the door and entered the house. The scene in front of him made him collapse in an instant. I saw Amanda lying on the ground, covered in blood. Although there's still a faint breath, I've lost consciousness. He immediately thought of his son Weston, rushed upstairs like crazy, saw the child safe and sound in the cot. The hanging heart is just a little bit more relaxed after confirming that his son is safe. He immediately dialed the emergency number. The trembling in my voice couldn't hide the fear in my heart. Healthcare workers quickly arrived. They saw David standing at the end of the driveway, blood on hands. The whole person is shaking. Check and find Amanda was shot 3 times, shot in the back, shot in the arm. The most lethal shot was in the back of the head. Miraculously, he was vital but the situation is critical. Healthcare workers are afraid to delay take him to the hospital immediately, but despite the doctor's best efforts in the next day, Amanda still has her unborn daughter gone. David kept holding his wife's hand until the last moment his heart stopped beating that otherwise ordinary November morning. He also lost his beloved wife, the daughter, whom the monk has yet to meet such pain perhaps only those who have experienced. It can understand the police began to investigate, but after some visits didn't get any useful clues. The Blackburns have an excellent reputation in the community. No known enemies, no debt disputes you get, along with your neighbors, and they're living quite happy lives, and they loved it. So why were they killed? The question became the biggest mystery in the early days of the investigation. As the investigation deepens, the police found some clues. First of all, there were no signs of forced entry at the scene. It turns out that David and Amanda trust this community very much, that I feel safe living here. So I rarely lock the front door, and the door was unlocked the morning of the crime. This allowed the killer to enter the house without hindrance. The Blackburns always clean up, but the scene after crime was a mess. The detectives saw a large bloodstain on the ground about 5 feet from the body. There's even brain tissue left. Amanda, lying face down, clothes were stripped, her underwear. Emails and bank cards are scattered next to her. It is worth noting that not all cards are on the counter. A pack of Swiss cigars was also found, a pair of earphones, and a roll of tape that David confirmed that none of these belonged to their family. That Amanda's phone was found in her bedroom, no sign of being passive. Fortunately, their dog Mel is locked in the bedroom safe, and sound. This may be the only consolation in this tragedy. Another important discovery: Amanda's phone shows 7:53 that morning. Chase Bank made a missed call. Detectives investigated and found this phone number. It's the bank calling, asked about suspicious activity on his account. From these clues, this looks like a burglary tragedy caused by failure. However, the evidence and clues left at the scene are too obvious. It made some people suspicious. Could this be an orchestrated disguise? Some people pointed out that David happened to be away from home at the time of the crime. I sent that just a coincidence. In fact, those who are familiar with him know David has always had a regular schedule. That morning exercise has been his habit for many years. But if the murderer knew he would be out for at least an hour, even know that he has a habit of leaving the door unlocked, that a different story. David is in the gym. More than one person can attest his presence, and the couple has always been very close. We're expecting our second child soon. There's really no reason to doubt him, but no matter how much evidence there is to prove David's innocence, or are there people who can't help but think the worst? Unfortunately, in recent years, there have been scandals involving some pastors. It's bias against the profession. So, in the beginning, there are indeed many people who look suspiciously went to David, because not so long ago a large church in Texas, 4 people in charge had to be fired just because they knew that a priest was suspected of abuse and even murder, but chose to hide. After Amanda was killed, David started a campaign. I hope to draw more attention to this case. He used social media to reach out to local news outlets, participated in many interviews, spread the word by any means possible. I just hope to find clues that will help solve the case, but his positive actions unexpectedly attracted the attention of online amateur detectives. Some people start guessing for no reason, said he was acting to cover up his crimes, even questioned him in the interview. Did not show enough grief, ask him why he hardly cries, why did it take 12 minutes to call the emergency number, why use social media to relieve emotions. Faced with these malicious speculations, all of David's friends and family came forward to protect him. I want to keep him away from harm on the internet, but everyone knows those hurtful words always leave traces in my heart. At the same time, the police conducted an in-depth investigation, completely ruled out David as a suspect. Instead, go all out what happened on the morning of the crime. They are more inclined to this as a murder caused by a burglary. The investigation found that Blackburn house was not the only victim that morning. There are actually 3 families in their neighborhood both suffered burglaries, and earlier that month there have been several similar cases in the vicinity. This criminal pattern makes the police more certain Amanda's murder was part of a series of burglaries. What's even more disturbing is another intrusion that happened a week ago. A masked man broke in while the homeowner was taking a shower, pointed a gun at him, kicked him out, then sexually assaulted him, although the victim of that case narrowly survived. But it's enough to say the motive for these murders is likely to involve theft and sexual assault. In these 3 cases, the murderer stole the jewelry, wallet, high-value items, such as mobile phones and laptops, but at the Blackburn house, except for a credit card and an Apple laptop, hardly anything was lost. This led the police to speculate intruders May was interrupted by something. Amanda's tragic death, it sent the whole neighborhood into a panic. That to assist the police in solving the case, neighbors voluntarily handed over surveillance footage from their homes. No one thought these videos became the key to solving the case at first. A neighbor said 2 gunshots were heard around 6:30 in the morning. I didn't think much of it. I thought it was a noise coming from somewhere. As the investigation deepens, more neighbors came forward with clues. Several people said around 7 and saw a suspicious person wearing black clothes, wearing a hood sneaky on the phone, then got into a silver Chrysler Sebring. Police reviewed local surveillance footage, confirmed the neighbors' claimed surveillance, caught a masked man wandering in the dark, then quickly jumped into the car and this Chrysler became an important breakthrough in solving the case because it's not the killer's car at all. It was stolen a few hours ago. 5:23 that morning, the Indianapolis police received a call that a car was stolen. Fortunately, the surveillance camera at his door captured the crime process. As you can see from the screen, 3 people were involved in the burglary. Combined with the timeline after they probably stole, the car went straight to David and Amanda's house. What's even more outrageous is after these people killed Amanda has no scruples. The third theft went on just an hour after the incident. Someone else dialed 911. The home with stolen surveillance in the area caught the same 3 people. In fact, when everyone is young, perhaps they have done something stupid or reckless, but most people reflect after making a mistake. But these 3 people are completely different. Killed someone during a robbery. You can still continue to commit crimes with peace of mind, and they didn't panic at all when they committed crimes, knowing that the homeowner is not a home, just swaggered and stole a bunch of things. Except these, the 3 murders are still in the victim's house. I sat down and drank a few bottles of wine drink at 8, and it's incredible. What's even more stupid is they left the bottle at the scene. This allows the police to extract DNA. However, in this investigation, the most crucial piece of evidence is the stolen car. They removed the license plate immediately after stealing the car, but the police know the make, model, and color of the car. It's not hard to find, in fact. The police found the car the next day. He was abandoned away from the crime scene. Only a few minutes away, police found various items in the car: an extra-large men's sweater, a bag of oranges, a universal remote control, a pink men's shirt, and an ATM receipt. The receipt shows someone tried to use Amanda's lost debit card, withdraw $500, but failed. This ATM receipt was traced back to a gas station near Amanda and David's house. The police checked the surveillance and found that one of them tried to wrap his face in a pink shirt to hide identity. But I forgot to take my shirt with me in the car. Such a stupid move naturally leaves a clear DNA. This DNA eventually led to 21-year-old Jay Iverson, a man who was recently released on parole for burglary. When the police checked his file, they found Watson had an accomplice in his previous crimes. His name was Dio Gordon. The investigation confirmed that both men are under surveillance while on parole, including cell phone activity tracking. After careful positioning, police confirmed both of them showed up that morning. All the locations of 3 burglaries, including that ATM. Further investigation near the aircraft revealed that morning Watson and Gordon made several phone calls. The call log mentions a third person, 18-year-old Larry Joe Taylor, too. That's all the police have finally identified the 3 suspects by locating their mobile number. Investigators found that all 3 suspects were together the night before after visiting their landlord. The landlord confirmed they left together around 3:30 in the morning. Also took her boyfriend's pistol, and a shirt was later confirmed. Both items match evidence from the crime scene. That pistol even with another one earlier that month, murder related. So only 11 days after Amanda's death, Larry Joe Taylor is suspected of murder, theft, and trespassing. Arrests come December. Jay and Dior were also arrested one after another. Anyone who knows about criminal cases knows when multiple suspects were arrested, they are likely to pass the buck to each other. These 3 are no exception. Like 3 clowns accusing each other in court, it's just that what they face is not a joke. But the severe punishment of the law. Dior was the first to confess. He accepted the plea deal, putting the blame on an accomplice. According to his confession that morning, the 3 originally planned to grab a few more, but Larry suggested carrying a gun after breaking into someone's house. Larry would enter the bedroom while the homeowner was sleeping. Perhaps for him it's more of a thrill, and he thinks he'll be fine with a gun in his hand. But for Amanda, this gun became a tool for killing. According to Dior, Larry took Amanda hostage at gunpoint. He and Jay had his credit card driving to the ATM machine. Call log display. He'd been on the phone a lot during this time. When the password is invalid, Larry realized that Amanda wasn't in hand over the money, so he hung up. Forcibly violated. His earning hit him and shot him 3 times. Amanda fell to the ground. Then he called his accomplice to pick him up. This also explains why did surveillance catch him getting into that Chrysler. Dior also told investigators Larry seemed to take pride in his actions, even stood next to Amanda and watched him bleed, no remorse on his face. And then he got the guys to pay attention. Ready to grab the third one. After learning these details, Larry's charges were upgraded to 1 count of burglary, 1 count of robbery, causing grievous bodily harm, 1 count of false imprisonment, 1 count of car theft, 1 count of possession of firearm without a license, and 2 counts of felony murder. It should be noted here that the 2 murder charges, it's for Amanda, with him and another person suspected of murder earlier. That year does not include Amanda's unborn child at his worth. Noting that since Amanda was not targeted at the time fetal murder charges, the judge barred any mention of her pregnancy in court, but because several jurors said I knew she was pregnant, the trial had to end regretfully ultimately. Larry agreed to stand trial by a judge now. Think about it. He may regret the decision because the judge sentenced him extremely harshly. Larry Taylor was convicted of all charges, sentenced to 86 years in prison. This means he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Jalen Watson and Dior Gordon's trial will take place in March 2021. Due to plea agreement they reached, two people were charged with 2 counts of burglary and 1 count of robbery causing grievous bodily harm. The other 5 charges were dropped. Jalen was sentenced to 29 years in prison, was later reduced to 15 years, at least 10 years in prison, and Dior is more involved in the case, sentenced to 30 years to 5 years in prison, 5 years probation. A lot of people don't understand why Jalen and the sentence difference is so big. It stands to reason that Dior was the first to agree to a plea deal and cooperate with the police. The sentence should be shorter, but the result was just the opposite. However, regardless of the sentence, they all paid the price for their actions. Their trials will take place in 2021 and 2022. Amanda's family suffered for 7 years. I finally got a just verdict, David, as someone who lost both his wife and his unborn child, always at the center of pain. He later admitted after murder he was as angry as many people were. Even to Amanda's murder generated bigotry and racist ideas, but in those 7 years he eventually learned to look at them from a different perspective, chose to forgive. And we have a line from David's book. He said, Amanda, probably the most selfless person you'll ever meet in your life. His life revolved around others, and that's why people are so moved by him. We all think Amanda cares about us, love us, because he never allowed himself to be the center of his life. I think the most amazing thing about Amanda is he lived for something greater than himself. He wants to do everything he can to help others. He is loyal, steadfast, and peaceful. Life is full of rhythm above. That's the case I'm going to share with you today. If you have any other thoughts on this case, welcome to leave a message in the comment area to discuss. See you next time.